Okay, a very, very good afternoon to everybody. A warm welcome to our dear panelists over here. Today, Grafton India is presenting a webinar on Talent 2.0. And why 2.0? Because data, tech, and skills that we need to win in the hybrid work era is utmost essential. So I would just give a quick introduction of Grafton recruitment. Grafton is about 27 years old, 40 years old, and it's about present in about 27 countries across the globe. We are presently leaders in talent acquisition, and we are managing, and our strength is in local expertise in trying to help talent and support companies to build and get their best talent from the market, as well as in parallel have professionals grow and build their bright careers. We are here to talk more about how living in this current era, where the definition of work, how we are building the models, and how we are able to bring the entire hybrid work models from being a very, very temporary solution to becoming a very new normal. So the organizations are looking to build, sustain, as well as be agile and future ready with talent strategies that typically build in the blended environment. This is where the center, where we are talking about the topic, and companies are looking at hiring for skills that evolve continuously, and typically a lot of decisions are data related in real time with the right demanding flexibility and focus and growth opportunities. This transformation has raised a lot of questions for us. And what role does technology play? How do organizations build a future workforce? We have with us today an incredible panel of leaders, and they have been at the forefront of a lot of these shifts and transitions and transformations that they have done in their careers. We look forward to their insights, their practical experience, and a future outlook on how organizations can truly win in the era of Talent 2.0. I will start with introducing Purva first. Purva, welcome. Purva is a seasoned strategic talent acquisition leader focused on employee branding right now in her current role. She is the Deputy General Manager with Hindalco Industries and leads recruitment for the corporate office as well, with including sales and marketing function, driving a lot of innovative hiring strategies and building high performance teams. Purva comes with over 23 years of experience in diverse industries, including banking, healthcare, consulting, etc. Her career, she has worked in organizations like Roche, DBS Bank, Deutsche Bank, ASK Group, etc., and has also successfully designed and executed a lot of talent acquisition strategies. Welcome, Purva, to being part of our session.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you for the intro. Thank you. And thank you for giving me this opportunity.
We have Kaushik. Kaushik is the Vice President HR with Sona Comstar. He is an accomplished leader with over 20 years of very rich experience across diverse industries and geographies. He started his professional journey with our Forge, with the Indian Army, before moving to the corporate sector, and where he's contributed across various sectors. I think you've dabbled in everything: infrastructure, real estate, pharma, BFSI, telecom, automotive, FMCG too. A few companies that I can mention is Renault, Nissan, Indus Towers, Amway. He's been able to strategize, identify challenges, and bring a lot of impactful solutions. So Kaushik has played a very pivotal role in driving change through process and policy development, dabbled in regions which is India and Africa, and he brings to the table a lot of adaptability and result-driven approach. Welcome, Kaushik, and thanks for being part of our panel today.
Thanks, Maya.
We have Karun. Hi, Karun. Karun is the Vice President HR with SR Energy Transition Fuels, and Karun comes with 2 decades of experience again across steel, power, oil, gas infrastructure, the large ones. He has successfully led HR and IR functions in diverse settings and done a lot of integrated manufacturing plants with global offshore operations, a great proven ability to align people strategy and business transformation. Currently in his role, Karun has been very, very instrumental in setting up the Global Capability Center in Mumbai for SR, and he's done a lot of integration between the India and UK operations. Typically, that is done for this function, and across all functions, including HR, IT, etc. Previously, Karun had set up the people systems from scratch with IntelliSmart infrastructure, and there I think the feather in his cap is to be able to secure the Great Place to Work certification within just 2 years that he was there. Previously, he was associated with General Steel and Power, heading again HR and employee branding for Africa region, managing huge 11,000 employees there at the unit. Welcome, Karun. Welcome to be part of our panel.
Thank you, Maya. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me here, right? Thank you. Look forward.
We have Kapil here. Kapil is currently the talent acquisition leader with IBM India. And with over 19 years of experience in talent acquisition, he leads IBM's consulting, recruitment strategy and operations in India. Kapil has worked across diverse verticals, including insurance, banking, analytics, everything in IBM. So he has a wide range of expertise, particularly in this, and with a lot of emerging technologies like cloud, security, digital workspace. His, I think, super deep expertise is across industries with skills which got him to design a lot of agile business aligned recruitment strategies, because there were a lot of transitions that happened during the span here at IBM. Very passionate. I think his pet project has been diversity and inclusion, a lot of innovations that happened along these years, and bringing about a lot of edge recruitment cutting tools to build future ready teams. Couple previous to this, he was working with Genpact and a lot of experience in full cycle recruitment there as well, managing and leading the candidate experience management. Very, very warm welcome, Kapil, to you as well.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you for having me here. Happy to be here with the group.
Thank you so much. So with the introduction, and I think we can step in straight away to, we want to really hear from you on, what is this hot topic and how is it that in your experience, in your current companies, how are you able to bring about a lot of changes and probably being able to actually implement a lot of things that your competitors probably are still looking at, are thinking of doing. I could start with Purva, if that's okay. I could, have my first question for you, where I wanted to, understand from you on how is it that the research that is showing that companies that are using a lot of advanced people analytics, are typically 3.1 times more likely to outperform peers in their talent acquisition and retention. This is, from a Deloitte Human Capital Trends source that has come out. How is it that organizations can leverage data analytics to make much smarter decisions in hiring and retaining talent?
Thank you, Maya, for the question, first of all. See, I truly believe talent acquisition as a function in HR is very similar to sales. Okay, it's not different. We talk about numbers. That's the only measurable function in the entire HR, which the performance, everything can be measured. Okay, so I feel it's not different than sales. Sales is all about numbers, same as talent acquisition. So using data in and out is the key for this particular function in the entire HR. Okay, we are the front face when it comes to talent acquisition. Okay, and we are the first people with whom your candidates will have first discussion, first interaction, and that's how they will know about the organization wherein they are potentially trying to get hired. Okay, so coming back to the data is the key today. Okay, and I feel end-to-end recruitment cycle and even post-recruitment, data is the key how it will help you, right from the candidate behavior. Say, for example, what kind of candidate you are trying to hire, from the demographics, right from their potentials, their pedigree, everything is measurable. So it will help you. The data helps you trying to get the candidate on board. Second is your source of hire. The data helps you what kind of the source which you want to focus, what's your data showing in past and current and in future. It will help you to save time, to reduce cost. Okay. Third is your candidate dropouts also. The data will help you what kind of organization you are losing to. Okay, not only the organization, but what are the reasons why the candidates are dropping out? Is it compensation? Is it the culture of the organization? Is it a location? Is it a specific manager with there is a challenge, and that's the market data which you are coming across? This is hiring. Second comes your retention also. You can do your retention strategy as well basis the data, right? Like what kind of candidate are resigning, what is a typical behavior wherein there are early attritions. Okay, is it because the manager, is it the culture of the organization? Okay, you can also, with the help of data, you can do predictive hiring, like you can plan your succession planning much well in advance, wherein you have your data in front of you, who are the potential candidates who are going to resign, seeing their performances or seeing certain behavioral patterns, and you can plan the retention plan, like giving them promotion, salary corrections. So there are various methods which will help. The data is the key, I think. So it will be used everywhere, whether it is hiring, retaining, or currently bringing change in your organization. So I feel we are moving towards it as an organization, wherein day in and day out the decisions are taken basis data. It is more of it's not a judgmental decisions which are taken. The decisions are taken basis the data which is in front of you.
Great, great. I think that's a great aspect that you've put, that right now there's a lot of focus on all aspects of the recruitment life cycle, right? Everywhere we have data, and everywhere we are actually using that data to come to certain kind of thoughts, questions, and even trying to find the right kind of solution with the data.
True.
And I like the way you mentioned that right from sourcing till the aspects, even till succession planning is what you're effectively using it in your organization. So thank you, Purva. I think that sets the context for because you touched all aspects of HR as well as TA. Karun, if I could bring you here in for this, because I was looking at, and the reason that why we put the topic 2.0, we did have a lot of questions. So I wanted to understand from you, because talent is so essential, and good talent is always scarce, right? So the recent studies have shown that about 45% of the employers are now shifting from degree-based paper or degrees to proper skill-based hiring, and typically this is a number that has been come from the World Economic Forum. So with this move, I'm sure the talent is always evolving, and there is so much of focus on agility, adaptability, potential, rather than the traditional qualifications that probably I have been part of when I started my career. I would really love to, and I'm sure the audience would also love to hear your thoughts on how organizations are redefining talent, especially in the context of Talent 2.0. What are the leaders thinking? What goes on in your strategy conversations? It would be great to hear, please. Karun, for some reason, are you muted? Because we can't hear you.
Just a second. Sorry. Maya, I'm audible now. Sorry, Maya.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Maya, thanks for the opportunity. Right, and when you said talent to 2.0, actually, so few things came to my mind and few keywords which really came to my mind, and you just mentioned one or two. Do we adapt first of all? How do we adapt? Are we actually future? So are we actually hiring for the potential of the employee and the capability of employee? And what kind of talent we are hiring, then we see probably the agility, the learning agility the employee brings in, right? So these are some of the very key points which go along with talent 2.0. And when we say about having all these three keywords or some of the keywords in an employee, we are not only talking about external hiring, we are also talking about how do we provide the existing talent within the system a chance to upskill, right? When we talk about skill-based hiring, you said 45% of the, and this is a well-established data, right, by the World Economic Forum. So how do we create skill adjacency among employees, right? How do we make them learn different skills? And employees, if we give a chance, right? If we give a chance internally to the employees are willing to learn different skills to remain relevant in the system, right? Not only for today, but for tomorrow also.
Yeah.
So these are some of the very important factors when we talk about transitioning in talent 2.0 and scaling and focus on basic skills rather than their degrees, right? Some of the other points can be, which probably we have done in our system, right? The GCC we have created in oil and gas domain over here come with very specific skills. Each and every skill comes with its own price tag and its own importance in the system, right? And over here now, how do we basically create a talent pipeline? Do we hire young talent in the system and make them mold them as per our needs? Do we actually hire set talent from the market who is actually available at the desired skill level? What kind of learning interventions are we doing internally to upskill our employees? Are all the points to ponder over. And actually, of now on all these parameters to develop a skill-based inventory or a knowledge base over here in Mumbai for the SR group, which will be actually assisting all that energy transitions which are happening across the group, right? So this is not only we are not only limited to per se oil and gas domain in the also move ahead in the hydrogen space, also moving ahead in the sustainable aviation. So all these future technologies, future energy domains will also require different kind of talent needs, right? So we have worked towards it in the last 3 years, and we are currently also working in the future. I can tell you what we are doing right now. So to create to basically have these three keywords work together for our employees, right? We are a very young organization. The average age is less than 35 years. So we know that yes, the adaptability and the learnability of our employees and the fungibility of our employees is actually very high, right? So with this, probably I would like to say that yes, how we are redefining talent in Talent 2.0 is this, and probably I think there are other ways also which the other companies are doing, but this is how we are doing it.
Great. Thank you, Karun. And just an add-on to what we started is, do you actually think this percentage would increase where organizations would want to look at the skills rather than look at premier institutes and B schools? Do you think that mental shift in hiring will also happen more, or do you think the premier B schools would always be, the much sought after by many organizations?
See, now there is a different thought process which probably I'll bring right now. I think why these schools are always sought after, why good B schools or why good engineering institutions are always sought after, because the students studying in these colleges bring all the required things on the table, right?
Okay.
And this is how our education system probably needs to work on that. If the other institutes also follow the similar methodology or a similar kind of approach to actually work on these parameters rather than just imparting the bookish knowledge or something, or if you're doing a mechanical engineering, 3 years of your course are just focused on the mechanical part of it, right? So that's how basically if fungibility needs to be involved from that space, first of all, right? and it will make the work easier for the organizations, for the corporates to basic, and for the candidates themselves, for the students themselves, to basically create a larger space for themselves be to basically work
Channelize
upon
it,
the future,
right?
right?
Yeah,
To channelize
yeah.
themselves in the future, right?
Perfect,
That's my thought.
perfect. Thank you so much, Karun. We've talked about talent, we've talked about data. I think couple comes from IBM, so they're rich in all aspects of data and also providing consulting for clients. Couple is currently in that role where he's managing multiple clients. So, couple, we would love to hear from you purely on, because a recent Gartner survey had come out which had revealed that 58% of the workforce needs new skills to do their job successfully today. So it's always new. And we have seen along in our technical journey how we have, all the old skills, VB, Visual Basic, C#, .NET. I mean, nobody asked for it. Everything is changing all the time. So how do, yet there are so many organizations that are still lacking in upskilling skills. So I know, everybody is talking about AI and it's often positioned as the one-stop solution. But of course, there, on one side, it's also risking and displacing a lot of roles. So if you could help, us understand in simple terms, what role does AI play, or, how does AI play in bridging or widening the current skill gap?
Sure, Maya. Interesting question. So I think, I would want to use a couple of examples actually, but let me say to begin with, I think AI, when you say the name actually of our session is Talent 2.0, it is indeed 2.0 because the infusion of AI into, the workforce, and it can be really powerful in bridging the gap if and when basically done intentionally. And let me give some examples. Companies these days, how it's really happening is that if I have a certain experience and an aspiration and it's there on the company portal, it recommends the trainings are basically recommended to me as to what can I really do to get to my goal. A couple of years back, even though I was clear about things that I wanted to do, of course I needed a mentor to suggest things that I needed to read through, go through. Now it's a tool actually, and it's not even a couple of minutes that I need to share my profile. I of course need to share my aspiration, and there you go. It has recommendations on things that I can read through and understand, whether it's industry wide, whether it's in my company. The other is, and it's not just within the companies. I mean, if you look at LinkedIn right now, for example, there are learnings that are recommended considering the role that you are currently performing. So that's how I think, whether it's organizations or external platforms, that I think helping or leveraging AI to bridge that gap. I think at the same time, I think I would be a little cautious in saying that it can widen the gap also if we don't really, if you're not on board, specifically in areas like manufacturing and customer service, where there are repeat tasks and which can be automated. And if you're not really on board, if we don't really train our workforce on things that they can really upskill on, their basis, their aspirations, their skill, there is a possibility that there is a gap, and people or a workforce is basically then lags behind. From a very talent acquisition specific standpoint, if I can say, it's helping. The technology is helping right now both candidates as well as employers. I mean, I can go and build my resume basis the job that I'm applying to. I mean, it's that easy. And as well as at the same time, the organization is also looking at matching my resume as a candidate with the job description that they have. So AI is helping the candidate, it's helping the employer, whether it's, like I said, whether it's building my resume, whether it is recommending trainings to me, to a recruiter or to an employer, recommending the right set of candidates from the thousand and the lakhs of applicants. I think it's just helping everybody, let me use the word, in leveling up. Yeah. I think that's how I would feel, AI is really helping.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think a lot of times it is how you're using the AI in right? Not only in for the organization, but also how to upskill yourself and to ensure that you are up to date with what the market is currently. You made a very important point, Kapil, saying in manufacturing setup, it is extremely essential. And that is where I would like to bring in Kaushik here. Kaushik, you are seeing this transition, and you have managed a couple of such in your past as well. So I wanted to understand, because the current World Economic Forum says that 50% of the employees need reskilling, 50%, and that's like a huge, huge number. But probably only 30-35% of the organizations have a very structured continuous learning culture that Kapil was talking about, where you know exactly what you need to do and how you need to work with employees. If you could help us understand, how do companies foster adaptability or lifelong learning to prepare? Because one thing is picking up the skill, second is to sustain it and to bring it in your daily approach. So how can learning prepare employees for such rapid technological shift? And I think you're the right person to help us understand this, specifically from the manufacturing setup.
Interesting way you built it up, Maya. Thanks. See, what I would probably like to establish, probably take a minute out to get a context set before we understand, because what typically happens is I've seen this bias within the HR community itself. Oh, you're from manufacturing, like you're an alien who's landed up at their doorstep. So it's nothing but the common sense and logic that prevails at the end of it. Just to help set a context, what happens is change is necessitated either through the consumer practices or the consumer behavior. For example, if I recall an article by the erstwhile CEO of M&M, it was way back in 2015 that he did say that consumer preferences have changed, the economic growth has put in so much of money into the pocket of the people, and the attitudes have changed. Probably if you look at our parents, they were from a slightly different genre. Probably they would have bought a car and they retired, and that car would still be revered like a relic at home, and every Ayud Puja where you make puja and all that for the car. But you look at today's generation, probably not us, but probably the next set of people who are getting to work, the attitudes have changed, that they change a car every 2 years. They couldn't, worry less. They are looking at what is the next high-tech car with the next set of features that is coming, in which they are changing over. So that is a consumer behavior. So when a consumer behavior has changed so much, what happens is typically companies like Mercedes, Renault, all these guys, the OEMs in industry, they invest so much behind the research and development that is not unwarranted, because there is, a set period of testing that which is required. Let me, shift out. Don't brand me now as an auto guy. I've also worked in pharma, right? So let me speak a little bit about what comes in from pharma.
Yes.
There is a mandatory shelf life of every compound, every API, or every chemical compound that goes, which is required to undergo. There is a stress test, because different geographies, because the geographic climates, the humidity which is there in Mumbai is not the same what it is in Bangalore, or what it is in a different geography. So it undergoes different kinds of testing. So that is also a market mandated test which is thrust upon. So when the go to market period is reduced, companies have to reorient. When this reorientation is required, the same point of what Karan did earlier make in terms, do I go out to look out for that particular skill set? See, that becomes a skill set for somebody who knows what are the testing that which is required, what is it exactly which is going to take for this product to get through that part of testing. That becomes a skill set. So the definition of skill set, which is why I had to give that bit of a context for, because IT and others, skills mean something which is different, but manufacturing, this is what is a defined skill set. So the retention of that skill set becomes absolutely important. Okay, now that I have established that of what is a background of a skill and what is important for data retention, there is tons and tons and tons of data that which is available, because see, manufacturing lines never stop. They never stop. It is 24/7, 365 that they keep running. So they churn out tons and tons of data. With all this data, how do you make intelligible sense That is the exact point of what Kapil was saying earlier. That is
Right.
where we are trying. Let me again not make tall claims. We are trying to
Yes.
leverage on AI and see to it that we are able to establish these parameters and get these people with the relevant skills,
Skills.
because they are people who have experience, but they have come through from an old school of thought. How do you get them to unlearn their old school of thought?
Yes.
How do you get them to
Absolutely.
adapt to the new ways, make sense from data and logic, where you have tons of data, and make intelligible decisions which are required to establish that you have the first mover advantage in the market, where you are able to take yourself and place yourself where the money is. See, the first mover advantage, of course, I'm pretty sure I don't have to tell about it. People who are able to leverage on this data availability, make
Yes.
sense in this tons and tons of data that which we have, make that intelligible
Absolutely.
decision the right decision, and get your product to where it has got to be, is what it is. I hope
Absolutely.
I've been able to add through. The last bit of it,
Absolutely.
I spoke the least, is what you had asked me, Maya, but I hope I made sense there.
No, I think what you also touched upon is the importance of continuous learning and making use of the data to be able to implement it, to be able to move to the next level. So I think that's the key takeaway from what you were talking. And you touched a very, very, Purva and I smiled instantly when you used that word, and that was bias. Because I think, there is something that I think we face. I will talk, from representing the female population. But I think as TA, people who are in the talent acquisition, I think it just comes maybe for us automatically or unconscious or conscious, but that bias is there for, I think, the large population. So Purva, I will, because you smile, I will just bring you in onto this conversation on, there's so much of like I said, growing awareness is there, but sometimes unconsciously also we, from resume screening to final interviews, somewhere or the other. And in fact, the Harvard Business Review had brought about that, there is this ethnic sounding names, 50% they were less to receive callbacks. And there is somewhere, in different parts of the recruitment life cycle, that there is this bias that is there. Since we're talking so much of technology and talent, can technology and data play a role in making hiring processes more inclusive, free from such kind of an unconscious bias?
Thank you, Maya, again for the question, and thank you for touching this hot and favorite topic of everybody, which is
Yes.
diversity, right? And I would say, people take diversity as only female hiring, but I feel it's not only female hiring, it's hiring from people coming from diverse culture or differently abled person or different ethnicity, different background. So there are multiple layers when we talk about diversity, okay? And diversity and inclusion are two different words which are used together, right? I would say in a layman term, diversity is going to a party and inclusion is asking me to come and dance. Okay, so
Yes.
I'm being included in that party. I'm being mattered, valued in that particular organization. I'm being heard. That's all about inclusion, and it's more about the cultural change rather than focusing on the numbers, the target given to the TA person that this time our diversity target is 30%, 40%. Let's achieve that. I feel more than the target, it should be on the culture of the organization, which needs to be worked upon, which will help retaining, because see, the numbers you will achieve, TA will pass on to the business HR that these are your candidates, but there is attrition. So
right?
how will you work upon that if the person is not included in the organization or valued in the organization? So again, how you use AI and these technology is maybe using removing the pictures, removing the ethnicity from the resume, right? And having an unbiased way of screening these candidatures of an candidate, because I'm a human being in the end. The hiring manager is also a human being. So that human touch will not go away if we have the name, the ethnicity, the gender, various dynamics attached to the resume of a person. How best we can do, we already, Kapil already mentioned that it's skill, and Karun also mentioned it's skill-based hiring these days, right?
Absolutely.
We give more weightage to the skill. We are moving away from the age-old pedigree hiring towards the skill-based hiring. How upscaled you are, how you will be. It's not only technically or role fit, it's more to do how culturally you will be fitting to the organization, right?
Absolutely.
So you can just remove all these parameters and present these resumes to the manager. Now you select, and you have various psychometric test assessments which are done these days. There is EON, there is PI, which is predictive index, that also helps you taking a decision to get not only a role technically ticked candidate, but also a culturally fit candidate, okay, for an organization. I hope I am able to answer your question now.
Absolutely. I think, very clearly you mentioned how data should be, in some aspect be looked at while ensuring that there is no bias that is there. Kapil, any, because I know how IBM as an organization is so focused on diversity and inclusivity, and you yourself have done so many projects. So how does, if you can give some examples of how AI or any kind of data has helped in removing bias, and any example that you have to share, it would be great to hear from you.
I think pretty regularly, Maya. I mean, when you go deep into data, it has, let me say, it has magical powers to show you which path you should really be taking. And I can give you some simple examples, and I can name a couple of my panelists here. So if Karun is hiring a lot of diversity candidates, whether it is women, whether it is PWDAs, LGBTQ+, it shows up in my data. At the same time, in case Purva is not really doing it, I know that she has the potential of hiring more diverse candidates. It's just basically for us to see on the dashboard. It's an easy one for us to figure out. But when in a large corporation, in a large organization, when you look at that data, you can actually take corrective actions in a certain vertical, in a certain location, in a certain skill, under a certain hiring manager, that there are trends that you can actually go and fix with help of this, which actually we've been doing very regularly. It does help us ask relevant questions, fix any areas, or rather address any concerns that anybody has basis their past experience, that they are carrying any kind of bias. So it does help actually in many ways, and there are many examples that I have. But yeah, to put it briefly, it's been quite helpful for us in the last couple of years.
Great. I think, while Kapil was talking about data and looking at and analyzing the data, I think that's where Kaushik was also saying you could have a lot of piles, but then bringing it together and actually rationalizing it and then helping that to make a decision for you, which actually helps the organization, is the key aspect of it. So because we were talking about KPIs and tick marks that Purva was saying in terms of percentages, I think KPIs are a very, very important aspects in measuring, especially in this hybrid workforce. Now I think it's becoming the new normal, something that was a very temporary situation that had come in, that hybrid is now people expected, especially the new generation think that that is the right way and it's more productive and it's working well in multiple scenarios. Karun, just to, if I could bring you in for, now that companies are adopting new measures as employee engagement, collaboration index, digital productivity scores, there's so many aspects that have come in, and how have these new metrics helped? Have you made those simple transformation? What additional metrics do organizations need to do to evaluate this effectiveness of these hybrid talent strategies? Because working in a hybrid space, getting and we're also in the space where we're having multi-generation workforce, right? We have the Gen X and we have the Gen Z as well. So have you worked on matrices? Have they helped you? It would be great to hear from you on this.
Thanks, Maya, for having this great. In fact, yes. And you again, Maya, you hit the nail when you talked about efficiency and not when you talked about effectiveness and not efficiency, right?
Absolutely.
Normally, matrices. What is the actual use of matrices in these days, or probably in many companies, is to track the efficiency, right? How efficient we are, but actually we have to move to effectiveness. Are we ready for it? Are we doing it to some extent? Yes. What is the need of the hour? Yes, we have to move to the relevant matrices, which actually measure the kind of pressure, the kind of work which is being done, the kind of fatigue which the people are having, or the kind of engagement the people want to have, or the companies want employees to have. So when we talk about it, if we are, how do we measure that we are doing good or not? Probably what is the retention matrix or what is the attrition analysis for us? But are we actually moving to predictive attrition analysis? Is the need of the hour.
Yes.
Right? Just a small example. Just a small example. Purva and Kapil both mentioned about diversity. Very good points. Just taking a level up. Are we actually measuring diversity and equity through our pay and promotion matrices? This is the need of the hour, right? And are we actually are we doing it? Are we checking the burnout ratio of the employees? Are we only dependent on the annual engagement scores for our company to are we actually making it a monthly affair or a regular affair to check on our employees internally for our own use, quarterly or monthly, whatever we want to do? And we are taking some actions, probably not organization wide, but small cohorts wise also, right? Or a particular management level wise, if you want to do it, right? So how do we check the burnout? So we are totally working from office, the whole team at the SRGCC. But yes, hybrid working is the new dynamics through which especially young employees strive for, right? And young employees and also employees at all the levels strive for. But yes, hybrid working is here to stay and is not going anywhere. I don't think so it is going anywhere, right? But how do we actually measure the working, right? Are we checking the post office hours logins for employees, and what is the frequency of the logins for the employees? Are we actually checking the number of meetings happening every day and the usefulness of those meetings, right? If you're doing hybrid working? So some of these things actually, yes, are required to move forward. And when we talk about talent 2.0 or anything, you can name it anything, but yes, we need to do all these things, right? What we are doing, yes, we are doing some of the things. We are doing very high in terms of having our engagement scores internally, internal challenges, internal level of engagement should be high. We are doing everything which is possible for us. We are not so much worried about the other things are like attrition being in, or probably when we talk about diversity, personally for us in oil and gas domain, we have limitations, but still another point of diversity and inclusion equity is how many diversity employees are actually in the leadership level, right? So we are making a point that yes, there should be, if not equal, but a fair amount of inclusion of diversity in at the leadership level, at the morning meeting, and have a say for the strategy, for the company strategies, right? So these are some of the things we are doing, Maya. And apart from it, I would like to say that yes, it basically the traditional matrices will have their own say, will not die down, but yes, uh, new matrices which are required to actually measure the effectiveness will come into play, and are actually coming into play. Some organizations are making it a, a strict go about measuring those analytics, and some are actually moving ahead slowly. But yes, there is a shift which I can actually see.
Great, great.
I can
Thank you,
just,
Karun. Yes,
yeah, Maya,
please.
I can
Yes,
just
please.
add an example to
Yes.
what Karun just mentioned. I mean, you were talking about, of course, Karun mentioned about the burnout and how we can flag that out. So there's this something called Microsoft Viva Insights. It basically shows basis the calendar that I have, the number of meetings that I have during the day. It can basically tell me and my manager a potential burnout that can actually happen because of the work overload or the meeting overload. And that's basically something which is visible to an employee and the manager, just to see that if there is like a balancing thing that I need to do as a manager or as an employee myself, I can actually do it. So that's again something which is technology driven, but again giving a signal to take a course correction, do course correction at the right time. So again, I mean, there are tools sort of helping, enabling us to gather those insights and take corrective actions quickly. Yeah.
Yes.
And fabulous. In fact, I also picked on that point that when Karun said was effectiveness of meetings, and how many meetings should actually be in that calendar. I mean, I'm definitely struggling with that. So I think it just resonated with what I need the most. And Karun, I just and I try to make that with the teams when we do is not have really large too many people in meeting rooms. The ideal somebody had said that as long as it can feed a medium pizza, so maximum 5 to 6 people, I don't think any meetings which has more than that would actually be as effective. So I think that was the takeaway from what Karun you mentioned, and thanks Kapil for highlighting the insights. I think it's something that we would definitely want to look at, and there are a lot of the people here in the audience, I'm sure they're making notes while we are talking. So because we were talking of effectiveness, we were talking about measurements, KPIs, I will bring in Kaushik because as an HR leader, while there are a lot of matrices, across, I think we already touched about upskilling, but continuous learning, right? Having the right training programs for this talent. We may have all the data, we may have all the tools to ensure that we're bringing in the right talent, but I think sustaining that, bringing them and growing them, so it's a very critical part of the workforce development. So how is it that we've seen that about, I think the report is about 8% of organizations track ROI from learning programs beyond the completion dates. And that is something I think every organization is struggling, that they could be the best trainers, the most fun training program that is done, and everybody gives great feedback saying, wow, this is like really amazing and we've not done something like this before. But how can organizations track the ROI of upskilling and reskilling these programs beyond the course completion? Because typically after that, you may remember it for a week and then, it just remains in notes if we've maintained. Are there any matrices that you have implemented to ensure that this new talent, when I say new, I don't mean the young talent, but the new talent in your organization across level, that has been able to, show that learning has translated into the business values and you're able to actually measure how they are able to implement it in their business?
Right. I will just speak through on probably one critical metrics, which has been an interesting offtake that I did have when I was interfacing through with a Japanese consultant for whom we are engaging here in the present role, Maya. See, what did happen over was an interesting uptake, that what is a charity that you have done at home? well, we always say charity begins at home. And so how I have been looking at it, and what did resonate with this Japanese philosophy was on the skill acquisition. The skill acquisition, when we are looking at whether it is in-house or external, what are the number of skills that we have added, and how much has that literally translated into number of people applying for jobs internally, or how many people have you given an internal rotation through into a new role? Call it an internal job promotion or a internal job policy, how many internal job transfers have happened, and measuring that as a tangible metrics is a number one measure that we are following to really imbibe this philosophy of saying charity begins at home. And when we are speaking in a long tenured company, see, typically in my organization, the average employee shelf life was ranging around somewhere in about 9.5 to 10 years. If you can imagine what 9.5 to 10 years average employee life means, literally, people have moved in, transitioned in and out of multiple roles, because that is the kind of knowledge retention which is required for the super uber speciality of the product that which we know we offer through to our customers. Ours is a B2B environment, number of customers are limited, and that what product we offer through is also a very limited range. So in that environment, this is how we are monitoring it. And the number two measure of how we do monitor and measure it is in terms of the overall skill level at movement. In the sense, you have a competency matrix, and we have a measure to say what is the average score of these skills in the organization. The score of the total of the competency matrix divided by the number of people gives you the average score. How are you progressing on a year on that competency to say overall what is the skill level the organization has improved? That is, besides, given the fact that you are looking at skills in the competency matrix, which literally really matters, and it is not that you're looking at communication skills and Excel skills, which is just there as a frip and frivolry in the organization. See, because this is very, very important, given the fact that what you did say earlier, and also Karan did say earlier, work is about what we do, not where we do it. That is what I think literally defines it. So in a sense, just deviating a little from what you did ask me, what one more factor we are trying to now do is break down learning into bite-sized learning. Meaning to say, today's genre and generation is about wanting to do things at their own pace. So what we are now doing for our learning and development philosophy here is to break down the structured formal classroom learning into a bite-sized learning, whereby people can take it anywhere, anytime. So we are leveraging on our learning management tool, our LMS, and trying to break down the size of the learning also into small packets, bite-sized, which people can take it even, probably somebody is bored, instead of playing a video game, wants to finger into the LMS app and take it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Great. I think that's fabulous, and to be able to actually effectively build something from the training programs and classroom is what I think we all want to learn. I mean, for me personally, I've always tried, and it's happened very recently in the last maybe few years when I realized that we're not effectively using it until we ourselves want to make that change. So I think, growing the talent is important. We have little time. I will just bring in a couple because it's a very, very important aspect and this question, and maybe we could have closing remarks, around that, so that we need to close. Couple. Again, I come back to you with AI, and I think you would be able to help us understand this. Is the challenge for leaders is balancing efficiency with empathy, right? We want production, we want productive workforce, but we also want to be empathetic at all times. Can AI improve any decision-making, space? Because about 68% of the employees worry that the human touch will be lost in the workplace if everything is automated and automation becomes the rule. So, if you could, how could we actually get in and integrate AI, keeping the human touch, making it human-centric, so that everything, everybody is happy, right? The leaders are happy, and the employees are also being productive.
Actually, what I've experienced, Maya, at least what we have experienced, is that it's actually completely opposite of what the usual notion is, that it's going to make it so mechanical and technical that human touch, will not really exist. let me give you an example, something that we introduced, here at IBM called Ask HR. Now, what is it? It's basically a couple of those repeat questions that we had,
Yes.
generic, regular questions that we had, which basically are now answered by the tool. What that helps do is all the HR partners or people who were sort of, reached out to for very basic questions, they are now spending more time in retention discussions, in making the workplace better, in working with leaders to get more and better and improved sort of environment for the employees. So what they were doing was spending their time in doing something which actually a tool or a technology could actually address. That's something which
Exactly.
is taken over by the tool, and you have those people spending time on something which is more meaningful and valuable, where you actually need a human intervention. So something that
Absolutely.
we've actually witnessed in just about last 24 months, 2.5 years
Awesome.
actually, and it's building the number, the scope of kind of questions which can actually be addressed by a tool, that's actually been increasing. And the time that, whether it's me as a manager, if I have a question, instead of me spending looking around in a matrix organization for an answer and reaching out to one person or two
Exactly.
people, I get an answer quickly, I get back to my employee, I get back to my manager immediately, and I have time actually to spend to spend more time with my team. I'm actually at their disposal more
Yes.
than ever before.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's how it's actually helping us. And I think that's how we should sort of embrace it, that give the task, assign the task which can actually be done by a tool or a AI driven tool, and I spend my time in doing a status check-in with my team, whether on a town hall, on a skip connect, or other strategic areas where
Absolutely.
my team actually needs me more or my client needs me more. Right? Yeah, so that's something that I think is, we need to sort of flip it and think that how it's really empowering us than actually making us weak in any way.
Awesome. I think you touched it right, and with the perfect example where human can spend employees can spend more time where they're actually needed, rather than trying to figure out how to come back with a very mundane query. So thank you, Kapil, for giving us the confidence that AI is here. It will be replaced, but I think it is actually helping us to do better and be more efficient and productive in our systems. We are like just got 5 minutes, maybe 30 seconds closing remark by everybody. Purva, we can start with you on, just on this topic, and, what are the takeaways that the audience should go with? A quick 2 points.
Yeah, thank you for this wonderful session, and thank you for introducing me to my fellow panelists. And there were so many exchange of ideas, what each and every organization is doing differently. And I can only say, and seconding Kapil and Maya's thoughts, that see, AI is here to stay, and we have to remove that thought process that it's going to take away our jobs. It is not. It is how you leverage it to the best of your capabilities and abilities, and how you upscale yourself and use it for your own leverage and do more meaningful and strategic work, wherein you are balancing your work, make AI and data do your work, and you
Absolutely.
use it for your stakeholders and your external and internal clients in a more meaningful way. And
Absolutely.
Gen Z is a different kind of a workforce which is emerging, and we have to be
We love them.
mindful about the way they
Yes.
function. We still carry that old values, the way of working, but they come with a very different mindset. So instead of blaming them that Gen Zs do this way, that way, rather adapt. They are smart workers, so
Absolutely.
we should work their way in a smarter way, wherein we are able to retain that workforce and give them that platform
Absolutely.
of a digitally savvy, culturally fit organization, because they are looking for that. They are not looking for
Absolutely.
I think so anymore the designations or roles. They are looking for a culturally fit organization these days, whether their personal and professional needs are met together.
And that's the upskilling we need to do, right? Being
Yes,
part of,
yes.
I think all of us have 20 plus years of experience. Quick one, we're on the top. I would rather finish quickly. Kaushik, 30 seconds, quick closing remark, please, yours. Kaushik, can you hear me? Okay, I'll move. Karun, if you can hear me, closing remark quickly, we can.
Yes.
Maya, right. So Maya, we've probably talked a lot about it, and Kapil, I am very much in line with what Kapil just said about probably making time for much better discussions.
Yes.
And I still feel that AI cannot, artificial intelligence cannot replace emotional intelligence. Empathy and emotional intelligence are two of the very important virtues for the leaders, which will continue to be there. The probably continuous learning will another thing which is actually making us grow along with the systems. I would also say personally, I follow reverse mentoring as a very important learning for me, because these, as Purva just mentioned about Gen Z and the young workers who are there is a lot to learn from them. They're quick, they're very quick. The speed and agility is hard to match, and they're much more easily conversant with the systems, with the new age technology and everything. But all said and done, technology and the data will only aid us in making decisions. They will transform the processes, but yes, it is us who will be leading all of this, right? It is the humans who will be leading all of this. So that's my point. Last one thought. I think we should be also investing in this and the employee assistance, because in this era of hybrid working, this is very much needed to bring in engagement level, to increase engagement levels, and to actually know the kind of pressure employees are facing, right?
Absolutely.
That's my 2 cents, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Karun, Purva, Kaushik, and Kapil for sharing such powerful insights with us today. I think quick one, what in this session that we had for Talent 2.0, it is not just technology or data, it is rethinking how we define the talent, how we measure success, how we prepare our talent in the future of work for the hybrid era. So I would really want to extend my big thank you to all of you all for taking our time for us, and to see how we could have inclusion, empathy, a human-centric leadership. I think we've covered a lot of topics. I hope the audience here has a lot of takeaways. I have made my notes. Thank you so much on behalf of Grafton Recruitment India and the entire GI Group Holding as an organization. We hope you go back with a lot of ideas and takeaways. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Maya. Thanks for having us. It's been an interesting discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.